Hey guys, we're going to be taking a quick look at who seem to be the best champions right now on this patch in preseason. Don't stop playing your favorite champions because they're not in this video. It's not about that. There are loads of really good things. It's kind of stuff that seems a bit ridiculous, like stuff that maybe is performing a bit too well and will probably get nerfed before Season 8. This might give you some new things to try, definitely some new things to ban. Timestamps are going to be down below or on screen. You can skip to your role, that's fine. If you even don't want to do that, then there'll be a list of champions below so you can just read them. We're going to start with AD Carry, the best role, of course. The best tier is going to be Ezreal, Misfortune, then Vayne and Twitch. This is kind of a two split actually. Like Ezreal, Misfortune are pretty much the two best early game champions, and then Vayne and Twitch really start to take off like mid to late game. So we have like a real divide of if you want to stomp early, you pick those two. If you want to stomp late, you pick the other two. Now Misfortune for now, while games are very fast in the kind of preseason meta anyway, there aren't that many champions who can keep up with her except really Ezreal. She is the best early game AD carry though. Very little counterplay actually to a lane phase right now. If a game ends before 25 minutes, over 60% of the time she is going to be the one winning it, which is absolutely crazy. Aerie and Comet plus Scorch actually on top of that means that all you have to do is press E. It's very simple. It's so easy actually. Anybody can do this. You press E, it does a ton of poke damage. You can't dodge it either because it slows. And then mana flow ban on top of that means that you can just do it endlessly, which is something you couldn't do last season. Q bounces can take off like half of somebody's health and they don't even have the crit to do that. And there is no way to return that damage afterwards. Like if you hit somebody like a Vayne with that, Vayne can't just run at you and decide to trade because you're going to love tap and make it even worse. If she gets ahead, there is really not that much that you're going to be able to do with it. Like she has loads of lethality. You can't actually fight her. Her love tap and her Q is going to burst you anyway. Plus her ultimate, right? The range on that means you can stay away from everybody. You stay away from assassins, you have massive teamfight impact, and other AD carries just can't reach you. We're going to stay with Vayne actually, who is kind of the reverse of this. So like she's one of the best mid to late game champions at the moment. Has the advantage of a lot of burst damage, so you can just dive in and like one-shot people, but also has consistent damage as well, right? Which is why it works so well. You dive in, you delete. If you don't delete, you still pump out damage. It's great. The reason I kind of wanted to talk about her as well right now is because she's actually more popular right now with Project Vayne, like releasing this patch, but she's actually like winning more at the same time. Now, that's pretty rare because you're gonna the play rate is gonna increase with the new Vayne players, right? Those new Vayne players should drag the win rate down. Instead, they're increasing it, which kind of shows that Vayne is actually just pretty strong right now. Pressy attack obviously does have insane synergy with her, but I think like lethal tempo will actually be used a bit more after the buffs that come on this patch. Blade and Rage Blade is actually a pretty good combo. It's a lot of consistent damage, it shreds objectives, it's really fun to play. It's another option, but for now I think pressy attack and crit really works. If we move towards the mid lane, so the best tier is going to be Malzahar, Katarina, Zed, Corki, and Xerath. These are the ones who can really carry a game in preseason and seem to be just a little bit too strong. There are loads of really good choices, but these kind of stand out. The first one, Katarina, is very similar to Misfortune. Everything we just said about her kind of applies here in a similar way. Like, she's the best early into the game, okay? That's the point. And if she gets fed, she's going to demolish a game. It's very hard to play against a fed Katarina, right? Highest kills per game for a mid laner, which is quite impressive. Over 10, apparently, on Champion.gg right now per game, which kind of makes sense, but is a bit ridiculous anyway. She's also very good at roaming, which is kind of the key to winning games early, especially as a mid laner. She doesn't need that many items to do it because her base damage is so high. Now, actually, she can make use of the triple pen build, which we don't really talk about very much, but Sork Boots, Liandry's, and Void Staff is pairing those three up means that you've got 3 penetration items. You have a ton of flat and percentage magic pen, which literally deletes people who haven't got much magic resist right now. It's kind of the same as always like last season. You can kind of keep her down a little bit, but wait until she gets Gunblade and she's going to pop off anyway. So it's really tough to play against. There are a lot of really easy targets for her to kill at the moment. We have a lack of crowd control anyway because everyone wants to play damage. People play for fun more. That's great, but they don't pick lockdown, so you can't shut down a Katarina. Xerath might have been a bit of a surprise. I know you probably think I'm an idiot, but actually, he sort of carries games in a very different way. He's got one of the highest damage averages out of anybody for a mid laner, which is kind of hard anyway, but he's also very safe, and the combination of the two is pretty rare for a poke champion. A lot of this is obviously to do with his range, but actually it means that if Xerath is strong, right, what do you do against him? Like, you can't really do that much. You can't exhaust his damage. You struggle to engage against him because he's so far back. You have to dodge, basically, and we know in solo queue, people just don't plug their mouse in, so they can't dodge. That's not really going to help us. He's way more deadly if he actually gets ahead than you probably think. His poke can really hurt, and you're going to struggle to fight, right? The meta is like a lack of engage. We have like damage everywhere. It means he is actually better than he probably should be. actually. Mana flow band and his passive, infinite sustain, infinite poke. And that poke is going to hurt more because he's got Comet and Scorch as well. Jungle is a bit different because there are loads of really good things. Like Kayn, for example, is really solid, but I haven't put him here. The best tier is going to be Zhao, Jarvan, Rammus, Shyvana, and Kha'Zix. Now we're going to look at Rammus to start with because he is the easiest jungler to play. You can be really bad at the game. Yeah, really bad actually. You can path the Gamora on and you're still going to be able to win the game because he's just so strong. He's good at every stage of the game, so there's no pressure. Early you can kind of heavy gank if you need to, but then like mid game he provides engage and a front line and like a lot of return damage. Your ultimate damage is really strong, especially with the Aftershock. You actually have some threat. You can actually kill people like by diving in, which kind of makes no sense for a tank. Any like burst or kind of aggressive jungler, I guess, really cannot do that much versus Rammus, especially if they are AD, but even AP like Nidalee really struggles. He's going to absorb their damage and then turn it around. He'll just chase them down. Now, one, we do have a lot of AD damage flying around in the game at the moment, which like as a Rammus player, you just really don't care about. And number two, teams often lack engage and frontline actually. It's very hard to play against the frontline if you don't have one. Like you're probably going to lose team fights. It's really tough to actually play a team fight if you don't have a frontline, but they do. And that is pretty normal for the game at the moment. Kha'Zix is the highest kill jungler in preseason, and he is so good at carrying games himself. All you have to do is rush a Duskblade, right? Don't even get a jungle like item or anything. Just get a Duskblade. You're going to one-shot people earlier, and like a lot earlier than we had last season actually. People don't expect it right now. To be honest, even if they do, there is not much they can really do about it apart from just like hiding behind their entire team. Mid-game, you kind of have like a power-up phase where like you're still strong, but like you're not as strong as you're going to be. Like when you get past that little mid-game phase, that's when you start to be insane again, which is rare for a jungler to be that effective late game and an assassin at the same time. You have this ability to trap people, snowball the game, find people alone, legitimately one-shot them as well, and that can just like win games by itself. Now moving on to the top lane, the best tier is going to be at the moment Ornn, Maoaki, Gangplank, Teemo, Singed in the West, like in Europe and North America, Singed is really good, and also Yorick, especially at lower ranks. Ornn is actually done right now, so we're going to start with him. He's the best tank in the game by a freaking mile. No one can get close except maybe Maoaki. Now, you're able to outtrade damage top laners, which makes zero sense. Like, especially after Ninja Tabby, actually, he'll just flame you with a shield. Not like literally flame in chat, like flame you with a shield. There's not much you can actually do. Like, he has such a high impact in early fights as well. So if you try and gank him, one, you probably can't kill him. Two, if it becomes a 2v2, you're probably going to lose. Like, especially in the river and in the lane and stuff like that with walls everywhere, your ultimate and your other knockup from your charge, like, that is just massive, honestly. Like, having that much crowd control and that much impact early with that damage and being that tanky at the same time, his kit is honestly just kind of overloaded, I think. People are starting to learn, but Ornn is the most annoying, pretty much broken top laner right now to play against, who just refuses to die late game. We are going to talk about Maoaki as well. It's a little bit different. Ornn is kind of the damage annoying champion, broken champion. Maoaki is more about soaking damage really, and like the engage and kind of the front line. Now it's kind of crazy. To me it's crazy anyway, but in general on champion.gg, right, he is one of the lowest deaths out of any top laner, and his job is to soak damage. Like, he is actually going to walk into a fight and let people slap him. He is supposed to die really, but he just doesn't. It's crazy. He's also perfect to gank for a top laner, for a Maoaki, right? He has crowd control to lock them down, even some decent damage with Scorch, which can actually get people killed. Partly it's the meta, right? Just carry meta everywhere. Tanks like can shut that down more, but he seems a little bit too strong. When a Riven can stack armor pen, like double arm pen for example, and still lose really hard to Maoaki, something maybe is up with that. I think his ultimate has huge potential in team fights, multiple crowd control spells, right? Engage, and even has a healing as well, so he just doesn't die. For support in our best tier, I'm going to put Leona, Sona, Taric, Blitzcrank, Janna, and actually Alistar as well. Might be a little bit of a surprise, but actually he is much better than people think he is right now. For Leona, Misfortune is actually boosting her win rate for sure. They're kind of really the same champion, which when you put them together makes them even better. Misfortune is a beast early, so is Leona. They want to crush lane phase. Both of them do. Then they want to burst people. Their synergy with their ultimates is really good as well. It's not just her really. Like, Ezreal is the same kind of idea. Even Twitch as well. Like, Leona can engage and get the Twitch fed, which is really good. All three of those, like the best kind of synergy picks, I guess, they are also very strong on their own. So it makes her kind of look better than she is, even though I think she is really good. Saying that, Leona can half health an AD carry at level 3 with her full combo, which shouldn't really be happening. She is so tanky, so much damage. It's hard to play against that anyway, and she keeps pushing her advantage as the game goes on. Like, she's going to keep ulting and like from long range, right? Keep fighting, roaming, setting up plays, and using that advantage she has to make the advantage even bigger. Taric is a little bit different. He's the best kind of middle choice between like Eagle and Leona, like full aggressive, I guess. Like he is really hard to kill. He's one of the most tanky supports you can play. You actually hook him as Blitzcrank, and I think Taric would probably heal out of the trade. His lane phase is pretty strong with his stuns. Like he has a shield as well and stuff, just absorbing damage so your AD can free hit. Team fights though, he's so good. Healing is good. Shields, stuns, and a massive team-wide ultimate, right? That ultimate buys you so much time. It is crazy. It's also good when you have so much damage in the game. Like, so if you think about Vayne, for example, right? It might not last that long in a fight on her own, but if she has Taric's ultimate on her, then she's going to be able to go nuts and free hit that entire duration. So in a way, Taric's ultimate is allowing you to do a lot more damage. So that wraps up what seems to be the best right now. It's kind of overperforming and probably going to get a nerf before the end of the season. I think it's pretty cool to see how the meta is shaping up. Well, I think it's pretty cool anyway. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like the video if you do. Subscribe, all that lovely stuff. But for now, I'll leave you with the robots.